An asteroid is a rocky body that orbits the Sun, ranging in size from a pebble to the state of Florida. Most of the asteroids in our solar system can be found in the asteroid belt between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. One of the reasons we use asteroids is because they bring something to the solar system that's sorely needed: feminine energy. In traditional astrology, there's only two feminine forces, the moon and Venus. The asteroids add thousands of feminine characters and female goddesses. It's interesting to note that asteroid astrology wasn't a thing until the 1970s, arising along with the women's movement. This subject of study began to be discussed, tracked, and treated seriously as women in the West started to take the pill and join the workforce. While astrologers take interest in about 2,000 of the 1.5 million asteroids in the belt, this video is only concerned with 4. These 4 are the most studied and the most famous. They're known as the Asteroid Goddesses. Their story begins on New Year's Eve in the year 1800, when an Italian astronomer pointed his telescope toward the heavens. He was intending to correct errors in the star catalog, but instead he saw a rocky body, the first asteroid found in our solar system. Since he was standing on the Nysian plain, which was said to be the site where Pluto pulled Persephone into the underworld, he named the object after Persephone's mother, Ceres. That act of naming the new body after a Greek goddess kept on, and over the next few years, 3 more asteroids were discovered that make up the famous 4: Ceres, the mother; Juno, the wife; Pallas Athena, the daughter; and Vesta, the sister. Let's start with Ceres, who was reclassified in 2006 as a dwarf planet and represents the goddess of the grain. Ceres was said to teach humans how to farm, and in the chart is symbolized by this glyph. It's the scythe she holds. Worshipping her brought good crops and, of course, babies. Babies were seen differently throughout history than they are today. Now that the majority of humans live in metro areas, a baby is a mouth to feed, but throughout the ages, babies were a woman's wealth. The more she bore, the richer she was, and Ceres blessed the womb. Since she was in charge of both food and reproduction, the very survival of the ancient people was reliant upon her. In mythology, even the king of the gods was helpless unless she was happy. It should be said that many forms of birth is something that men also do. And there's a feminine force within men that expresses the feminine factors, just as women live out the male planets in their birth charts. If a man denies his feminine side, you're likely to find him projecting his goddess asteroids onto the women in his life. In your chart, the placement of Ceres shows the way you think of food and the kind of diet you prefer. She's how you mother. Are you more of an idea person with your children, imparting wisdom and good citizenship, Or do you do their laundry and make French toast? Do you promote independence? Or do you create a cozy nest? Ceres is also connected to grief, how you handle grief. She can also be connected to separation and shared custody issues. It's interesting to me that the mother goddess entered the astrological world at around the time that women finally gained control over their own reproduction. We needed her spirit to come into our society and remind us that mother is a power position. Next, we have Pallas Athena, the daughter asteroid, discovered in 1802. In mythology, her creation was an unusual one. She was born out of Jupiter's head, a purely intellectual creature, the goddess of wisdom. Another interesting feature is that she came into the world fully grown and in a suit of armor prepped for battle. That's why her glyph is a diamond on top of a stick, symbolizing a spear. She never married or reproduced. Her children are brain children. In your chart, she symbolizes the skills and competences you tend to pursue. She stands for both an independent streak and a place in life where you tend to have genius, inventive, and innovative ideas. Her placement shows an area of life where you want clarity and you're willing to fight for increasing wisdom. Now, let's take a look at Juno, the third of the goddesses. Discovered in 1804, she's Jupiter's wife, which makes her queen of the gods, queen of heaven. That's why her glyph is a scepter with a star on top. As a protector of the city, Juno was considered a savior by the Romans. She was also the protector and overseer of women. You see, as both the wife and the daughter of gods, she found it difficult to be free and powerful. Despite this, she got by. So her placement symbolizes your attitudes about power balances and imbalances. In myth, she was always straightening out injustice in whatever way was at her disposal. So in the chart, she's your sense of fairness and justice. A wife asteroid is going to protect what's hers. So this is what she says in your chart as well. She's the goddess of marriage and sacred commitments. In some ways, she's like Venus, except her energy is more specific. And while Venus was led by desire, Juno's interested in taking vows. Juno is how you show up in an intimate relationship. She also indicates the type of person that is best for you to marry, regardless of what your reasoning skills may have concluded. She can also show extreme action, as well as trickery and revenge, or giving people what they deserve, which is a form of balance too. Last, there's Vesta, the crone, the goddess of the hearth. Discovered in 1807, she is Jupiter's sister and one of the oldest of the Olympian gods. Vesta was associated with the Vestal Virgins. The College of the Vestals was regarded as fundamental for the security of Rome, and the state paid their salaries. The Vestals were free of the usual social obligations to marry and bear children, and they took a vow of chastity in order to devote themselves to the study and correct observation of state rituals that were off limits to the male college of priests. The Vestal virgins cultivated the sacred fire that was never allowed to go out. Vesta's symbol shows the hearth flame and the Olympian flame. It contains the letter V, which goes downwards and inwards. She symbolizes sisterhood, not only as in sibling, but also as in sisterhood of nuns. Since she was venerated in the ancient world, where you have her in the chart is a place you consider holy and where you need no one to complete yourself. Her placement shows where you're likely to create a sacred space that you naturally cultivate. Vesta's life is simple, and therefore in your chart, Vesta indicates a simplicity that comes out of devotion. I'll end here because asteroid astrology is a complex and almost endless specialty that takes a lot of personal research and hands-on education. But I think it's nice for an individual's knowledge of their chart to include the 4 we just covered. I've added a link in the description box that will take you to a good, simple asteroid ephemeris so that you can find your placements. Thank you for watching Secrets from an Astrologer's Desk, the Asteroid Goddesses. I'm Joy. More videos to come.